When you sample opinion across Nigeria today or go by comments on social media, you will see the hopelessness and the helplessness. You will see the frustration. Some just feel they can wish away Tinubu or the hardship, like some sort of going back in time to last year or 2 years ago when things were a little bit better. But the reality is no one is going back in time. We must deal with our challenges. We must tackle them head on. Now, another sampling of opinions of many people, you will see that many people have lost hope in elections. They do not feel that elections will solve the problem. When you talk about 2027, they will tell you, is it going to be any better than 2023? Things are getting worse by the day. So how is it possible? How is it in our wildest dreams that votes will count in 2027? That's how many people have lost hope in the process. Now, a small percentage of people still believe in elections, and nearly 99% of the people that believe in elections believe that it can only work when Nigerians match violence with violence. Some also believe that if the electoral process is sanitized and laws amended, that votes might count in 2027. The problem with this is that in 2023, laws were sufficient to guarantee a free and fair election. But in the end, what happened? They manipulated the entire process, from switching off the IREV to the courts approving all the fraud they committed. So amending the laws won't guarantee that votes will count. The same people are still in power. They occupy positions, the army, the police, the INEC. They are everywhere, including the courts. They can always pull what they pulled in 2023 to guarantee that they retain power. So this brings us back to the people that believe that the only way out is for Nigerians to stand their ground and match them violence for violence. Before we see how all that will work, let's look at what this chief said during the election.
If care is not taken, he's going to end up in prison yard. You know, those people that used to come to him, they are eating his money. He says Jagaban of Hausa. Those who are taking care of goat and cow, they are Jagaban. Who is Jagaban? So you have to rethink and make up his full steps so that he cannot sleep and die. Because this is how I told Abiola. This is how I told him. I went to Abiola office personally. Baba, God has done great thing for you. You have money, you have everything. Why do you want to become the head of state? He said, my worry. When all these Babalawo are hungry, that's what they are going out about. He gave me 25,000. I said, Baba, thank you very much. God will be with you. How does he end? He did not end well. He died. So that's what is going to happen to Tinubu now. If Tinubu doesn't take care, he will die like a goat.
Well, this is Baba's opinion. The reality is, wicked and mean people actually live long. Look at Nigeria's history. It is all the nice people that end up not achieving their dreams. The system is rigged in such a way that nice people will never emerge to save the country. Even in your families, villages and communities, all the nice people always end up not achieving what they want to achieve because the society suppresses the truth. They suppress nice people. It's only the mean and the wicked that always emerge at the top. Another reality is Nigerians are nice people. That's why they don't take the laws into their hands to force nice people to the top. Yes, it happens in many countries, Western countries, even African countries. In 2018, the other year, it happened in Sudan. The people refused. They protested for nearly 2 years till change happened. If people insist that change must happen, they must get it, no matter how long it takes. No one man or a few people will be stronger or more powerful than the entire Nigerian people. It's not possible. So this is the second reality. Nigerians are nice people. They allow wicked and mean people to seize power to do whatever they want. Remember, Nigerians haven't always been like this. Young Nigerians that lived in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and to some extent, early 90s, weren't as tolerant as Nigerians of today. Yes, that's the reality. Take the 1966 coup for instance. The young soldiers at the time united among themselves against the politicians of the time, simply because of the trajectory the politicians took 6 years after independence. They were worried about the future. They were also worried that one of Nigeria's founding fathers, that's talking about Obafemi Awolowo, was already in prison just 6 years after independence. Imprisoning your political rival is something that dictators do. So this forced the military to take over power from the civilians. In summary, politicians provoked that military coup in 1966. If they were able to manage affairs of the country professionally, it wouldn't have degenerated to the situation that soldiers would start thinking of taking over power from civilians. Also, all the violence that happened in the Western region prior to 1966 proves that politicians couldn't manage their affairs at the time. And compare that to now, what is happening nearly 60 years after. It shows that politicians haven't learned any lesson from history. They are making the same mistakes politicians made in the 60s. It is even worse right now because they are making it difficult for Nigerians to vote. Nigerians are losing their ability to vote because votes no longer count. And when all these kind of events start to happen in a country, you know that there is serious problem ahead. Democracy guarantees that people will have the ability to change incompetent leaders when they come for re-election, just like it is happening in the US right now. They will go for presidential election in November. They have that opportunity to change the leadership of the country. In Nigeria, whether you like it or not, your votes will never count. Many people will say they will vote out an incompetent leader, but when that opportunity arises, they go to the polls and cast their vote. Their votes never count. This brings us to the people who believe that the only way votes will count is for Nigerians to stand their ground. Let's see how it will work. Elections are easy to conduct. Nigeria is not the most populated country in the world. India, the largest democracy in the world, they conduct elections. People living in remote areas in India, they all cast their vote and all their votes count. But in Nigeria, votes don't count. The reason corrupt politicians make it so is that it is the only way they can get to power or retain power. If they allow free and fair election, that means they will never get to power because Nigerians are smart. They can identify a criminal and a gentleman. Since elections are done manually in Nigeria, all ballots must be physically counted one by one. It is always prone to manipulation. Of course, it is done elsewhere, but in Nigeria, our own is always different. After ballots are counted at the polling unit, polling officers will now move to the next collation center, which is the local government collation center. In the local government headquarters, they will collate all the results from all the wards under the local government area. After that collation, they will now move to the state collation center, which is normally at the state capital. There, they will collate all the results from all the local government areas. This is where they will determine who won the state. Once the state collation is finalized, they will move the results to Abuja, where the final collation is done. At Abuja Collation Center, which is the National Collation Center for presidential elections, they will now collate all the states and announce the winner. Now, the only way people can guarantee that their votes will count is to stand their ground at all the collation stages. Starting from their polling unit, they must stand their ground and make sure that their votes count, that all the votes cast are announced the same way they were cast. This normally happens in front of everyone. After voting closes, they will count the ballots and record the results in the results sheet. From there, they will move physically to the local government for collation. Normally, they are accompanied by security agents so that the results will not be manipulated. This is where the citizens now come in. Once polls close at the polling unit, they will have to, of course, after they might have ensured that the votes were recorded the same way it was cast, they will now accompany the polling officers from their ward to the local government collation center. They will besiege and stand their ground at the local government collation center and make sure that all the results are recorded the same way it was recorded at the polling units. From the local government collation center, they will now accompany INEC officials to the state collation center. This needs proper planning. Any coalition of parties that will face APC in 2027 must make sure that all these are properly planned, because many can't travel to the local government collation center, not to talk of the state collation center. In some very large states, local government areas are too big for people to cover, especially on election day when you know that movement is restricted. So if people stand their ground at the state collation center and ensure, even threatening them, saying that they are not leaving except the results are announced the same way they were recorded at other stages, from polling unit, local government collation center, and now the state. After that, the next one will be Abuja Collation Center. Of course, it is people that live in Abuja that will handle this one. They will need to besiege that collation center. Not what they did in 2023 when some political parties walked out of the collation center. No, there's nothing like walking out this time around. They must insist that the results must be announced the same way they were announced at the states. That's the only way to guarantee that people's votes will count. If not, 2023 will repeat itself in 2027. Thanks for watching.